Well, we're here to finish our first season with Distillery in Northern Ireland. Don't worry, there'll be a full inquest into it tomorrow in a season review. But remarkably, we've got the chance to win a double, with a second cup final coming at the hands of the reserve side of our parent club. But first, we've got a close finish to the league. It's not going to be anything that's season defining, but we could finish anywhere from 3rd to 6th. Yes, hello and welcome along to part 8 of Lifting Spirits with me, Daniel. We are back today for our final league game against Portstewart, the 3rd place side who we can remarkably overtake from 6th with the right result here before the big cup final against Linfield's reserves, and that is to complete a cup double. The 2 lowest ranked cups, but trophies nonetheless. They're going to be crucial in these early stages while we still try to find our consistency, because as you can see, even the side in 2nd place in this league table, nowhere near 2 points a game. We'll have a full inquest into what's caused our inconsistency in tomorrow's episode. We'll have a big review of the data hub and what we want to do this summer in the transfer window. But if you're looking forward to this one first, a chance to wrap up another trophy and get out of 6th place in the league, then please do put a thumbs up on it and subscribe for daily FM23 content. We'll be back with the head coach tomorrow for the start of our 2nd season. It's going to be a very important episode, so if you're not up to date, that playlist is up in the eye above, as is the Twitch channel, where we're live every day at the moment during the beta. But let's get cracking with Distillery. Thank you for coming along as always, and I'll reflect first, before anything else, on our results since you were last here. Now, because of the weird schedule here, where after playing basically every other week the first half of the season, we're now playing 2-3 times a week for the most part in the last month, it means we have been able to bring in some of our youth intake youngsters for a couple of debuts. What it does also mean is we've been incredibly inconsistent, and if you have a look at this year generally, the problem's been our away form. So if you take out the cup game against higher league opposition, we haven't actually lost a home game since the start of November, and that's against the side currently in 2nd place. And if we go back through the whole season, we're actually far better away from home after those first couple of months. Recent months, however, we can't buy an away win. We got one against Tobermoor United, but other than that, you're talking all the way back to December. However, since you were last with me, it's basically gone to form. We won in extra time in that cup game you were with me, then 2 away defeats and 2 home wins. We lost 3-2 at Bangor. We had Brian Healy and Mark McKee getting a goal, but it was comfortable for the host throughout, if we're being honest. We did, though, look at least a threat on the attack, which was something. At home to Armagh in the week, we then won 3-1. Brian Healy again with a Leon Boyd brace. He's been brilliant for us. And if you look at the bench, Leon McNichol and Johnny Snoddy, 2 of the defensive youth intake players, did make their debuts off the bench. The main reason being, we don't have any defenders left as backups because Quinn got recalled, McGann was absolutely knackered, so was Farquhar, so I could only play one of them. So in the end, that's what we went for when the game was won late on. A 2-1 defeat away at Dolinstown, who we beat in that cup game last time out. Unfortunately, Leon Boyd's goal wasn't enough, but if we can renew his loan for next year, alongside Withers and Farquhar and maybe 2 or 3 good signings, I think we've got a real chance because we've looked much better with him in the team and he is a ruthless goal scorer. So another tricky away performance again, but we did bounce back with a clean sheet last week at home to Meola Park. Leon Boyd scored both again, McNichol came off the bench again, and we're just starting to look a little bit better at home and a little bit more consistent. The problem is, our last game of the season is away from home, so you're probably going to see a defeat. I'm almost edging towards 2 different tactics for next season, because on the road we just look so open, and even if you do look at the one game we won this year, it was 4-2, we still let in 2 at the back. So definitely somewhere to work, something we'll look at when we're in the data hub in the next episode. But for now, all action is on the pitch. We've got 2 very big games coming up, and we could yet finish the season with 2 trophies, which for me, given the fact we were always going to be inconsistent and mid-table in this league, is a pretty remarkable achievement. Trophies are the things you're remembered by, and if we can add 2, I'll be very happy. Not going to be easy against our parent club reserves though. There is one thing that makes it a little bit easier and a little bit more achievable, and it's the remarkable feat that I accused the game of being too smart for in the last episode, which is Leon Boyd, apparently, according to this, is not going to be cup tied for the game. Now that's because he's on loan from Linfield, despite the fact he's actually in the reserve team, which is what Linfield Swifts are. He is not listed as ineligible even though he can't play against his parent club. So it seems like there's a little loophole in the game there where it can't work it out. And I guess they wouldn't expect in most leagues and in most countries for you to be able to come up against your parent club's reserves in a cup final. So one of those weird little things, but we're going to enjoy it because it gives us a chance to win the match. But before that, we've got to go and get into the last league game. I want to finish on a high. I want to get up to third or at least gain a position or two. But I don't think it's going to happen away from home. We've got a big summer ahead of us. The finances don't look great. There are some good youth players to progress up, but for now, it's all about trying to get a result. The higher we finish, the better we look. So let's go and get through to the team selection and see who we can put out tonight. And here we go. It's going to be the exact same 11 as started last week in the victory, but home and away from home is chalk and cheese at the minute. I'm almost looking at a back three tactic for away from home, but we need centre-halves to be able to do that. And at the moment, we just don't have it. We've got Ethan Carey in goal, Warnock and Smith the fullbacks with Farquhar and Grimley as centre-half. We've got Lynch and Barr the midfield two, Healy, McKee and Withers the three behind the striker. And that man is Leon Boyd, 13 goals. And if you look at his rate for the season, it's a pretty incredible effort. I know he scored a lot in the cup games, but 6 in 8 in the league, and that's the bread and butter. He's improving, he's looking really good. I just love to get him in next season. If we can get him again, if we can add 1 or 2 more, Linfield being the parent club now, I feel we've got a chance. Because this league, it's not that strong. We just got to find a consistent away tactic. The team's looking good. There are a few of our stars wanted. If we start to lose the likes of Mark McKee and Ethan Warnock, things might look a little bit different for us then. Portstewart, today's opponent's one of those looking at the left back. And also I've got to point out the hilarity. After almost losing the save to the glitch of Aaron Brown joining, he's now barely played a part. He's been so poor since he's come back. He's not really close to the first team. And a bit like Stuart Thompson in January, looking at his appearance fee and looking at where we are, he's probably the first candidate to leave now in the summer to free up wage bill. So that's an ironic one, but let's go and get into it. Final game of the league season. Let's go into the cup final in style. Well, the man to watch out for in the host team today is definitely Croskery up front. He's a good player, former United youth player as well. And in the first game, his debut he played against us, he scored 2 goals, he won them the game. That was away from home, same issue today. I think this could get tricky. We'll ask the lads to carry on where they left out. A few of them motivated actually, but the defence unmoved. And that's been the problem for most of our away games. And we're back in just the second minute as Portstewart play out from defence, though Grimley wins the header on halfway to Lewis Barr. Into Boyd, who's got time for McKee. Turns his man, goes for the shot. It's comfortably wide. I mean, if we lose him in the summer, we're in big trouble. Because on an amateur, no paying deal, there's no way we're going to get a player at that level. So we might have to just offer him a contract. As Withers on the left-hand side. Goes back to Warnock to start again. He bids another one that might be off to this club, ironically. And McFadden goes back to Bradley. We're going to end up with a whole loan team basically, aren't we, by default? As Bradley comes over halfway. Good ball down the right. Played onside by Grimley. Cross into Croskery. And I told you as the danger. Completely unmarked. And he heads in. I don't mind Grimley doing the covering duty as we finally asked for it. But then to actually mark your man from across would be lovely too. 1-0, 1 shot on target. Easy as you like. The usual away defending. And we're back for a free kick. 10 minutes to half time. Hits the woodwork and over. I was a little alarmed to see that one of the few double-figure rated attributes for Grimley was marking. That is a big concern for this. With 5 to the break, it's been an even game on the stats, but again, they've had the better chances, they've taken them, and away from home, it's a familiar pattern. We are 1-0 down, we are going to finish 6th as it stands, and that's a little bit disappointing, because I'd like to have overachieved officially. We're going to say we're disappointed, we'll get into the second half, and fingers crossed we get a response, but I doubt it. As it's a free kick for Portstewart again. Great effort, good save Carey. Another free kick on target. But Carey's really improving. His positioning's up to 4 and on the cusp of 5 now, which was his big weakness at the start. I know that Neil Graham's going to push him close for next year. It's going to be a real good battle between the two of them. But they're both developing well. They're both really impressive. And it's not a position I'm now prioritising. It's a quiet start to the second half. There's not much going on. But we've had no goal threat all game. And Leon Boyd has shown all he needs is service as the ball's into him there. It's a great block from Johnston. First sniff, we get a corner and we're now on the front foot. loads of men in the box. We've set up these set pieces very well, and it has yielded a lot of goals this season as it's headed up more than away. Grimley loses the second one, and at the hour mark, it stays 1-0 to Portstewart. Now let's go and look at some changes. Though I've been blocked by my superstition, it's back for a highlight already. Cleared downfield, straight to the Portstewart keeper. Not sure what we were intending to do there. Maddison will go long over the top, and this is our frailty on the road. Long down the left, Warnock loses the header to Bradley. Gets in behind, it's so easy. Cross deflects, Smith away. Well, up, not really away. Grimley blocks the cross, it's in towards Warnock though. Headed away as far as Withers, who loses out to Watt. We're second to every 50-50 ball. The cross is into the back post, Martin hits the bar. Farquhar panics, puts it behind, and it's a corner kick. It's going to be easy for Portstewart, because even if we do nick a goal here, you can easily see them scoring again. Bradley's corner to the back post, Grimley away as far as Crossgreet to McFadden. Good challenge, Matthew Lynch, and it's up to McKee. Can we counter? Man over on the right in David Healy is a 4-on-4. Healy puts it across to Bar. It's not good enough, it's under hit, and it's away as far as Bradley. I wouldn't say we've looked like scoring, so let's just make our subs. We're going to take off Leon Boyd, who's having a rare poor game. Happens every time I talk someone up. He'll be replaced by Jordan Shearer, who hasn't scored since about January. We've got Healy on a yellow and not playing well, so Josh Boyd on for him. We're also going to take off Warnock at left back. You can see McNichol, one of the youngsters, come in. I think we'll save the last two a few more minutes, but there are definitely some candidates to come on. McVarnock, Lynch got attacking threat off the bench. Ballatine's got height. But for now, we'll leave it at the three we've made, and hopefully they have a quick impact. Though it's a free kick at the wrong end for us, into the back post. Headed just over the bar by Hudson. It was so easy. No real challenge at all. And as we come in towards the final 10 minutes, I will make a couple of late subs. Lynch is on a yellow and not playing that well. We will bring on Ballantyne for him. Just give us the height. McVarnock on for McKee. Might be his last game in the league for us. Let's get through to the final 10 minutes and hope there's a super sub to save the day. Well, I've gone attacking with 2 minutes left. If we're going to go down, we go down in style. Barclay's long downfield. Nobody up, only Hudson. Puts his foot on the ball and takes his time. Very professional. Johnston chips in. The defence is all over the shop. And that is what happens. The offside flag thankfully up. But as soon as we go attacking, we get picked off completely. We are not a team that can chase a game. And it doesn't matter anyway, because we've created nothing. 1-0 defeat to Portstewart. We have got to find a way to deal with things away from home, because this has just been disappointing this year. And if it wasn't for our away form, we probably could have contended for the top two, even if we just drawn most of them. So even if we can find a boring, uninspiring tactic to get us 0-0s on the road, that might be the way to success next year. A lot of the lads motivated. It wasn't a great display, but there's one more chance at glory. We've been a great cup team this year. We won the Steel and Sons Cup. Well, the Intermediate Cup final is in 10 days' time. We're playing our parent club's reserve side, Linfield Swifts. We'll be back in a minute for it to see if we can get the double. It's cup final time. It's the weird scenario, and it is the first Intermediate Cup final in Distillery's history. As I mentioned with the Steel and Sons Cup, which they hadn't been in too often either, it isn't really a badge of honour because Distillery had often not been eligible for this, playing at the higher levels. However, we have been starting our summer transfer work, despite the fact we've still got a cup final to focus on, because it was only yesterday that Bobby Harvey had agreed to join us as our first signing of the summer. I'm basically going to release Aaron Brown and use the same fees to pay for Harvey, because at 17, he popped up in my scout reports last week. There were lots of people sniffing around him, and he's too good to let go. At right back, rated 4.5 star by our scouts. I'd probably put him about 4 star, but I'm not looking at him there. I'm looking at him as a wide centre half in a back three away from home. I'm looking at him as a left back. If we end up losing Ethan Warnock, he gives us so many options. Played one game for Glenarvan, came through at Linfield. Too good to refuse. So Bobby Harvey, first signing of the summer, will come in June. We've also got a lot more on the go, but we have got to focus, firstly and most importantly, on a cup final. A chance to win a second trophy in an otherwise inconsistent year, and a chance to finish on a real high in what's been frustration ultimately. Leon Bart and Healy are both ineligible. McGann is because he played in the Intermediate Cup, but Leon Boyd, despite not being able to play against his parent club, can play against their reserves. It's baffling. He's now gone up to 4.5 star and he's still improving off the pitch. He's the best trainer at the minute. But I've got to make some decisions. So back in a moment when we pick the team. Some big decisions made for this game. Aaron Brown is going to get his final appearance on the right wing. I've opted for him over Josh Boyd because one of them's got to be on the bench and I'm paying Brown more, so he should be playing more minutes. Hopefully he can rediscover that form from earlier in the season. We've also brought in Neil Graham in goal. He has played all the intermediate cup games since he's been here. It seems unfair to drop him out for the final, particularly when there's nothing between the keepers. And then Josh Lynch back alongside his namesake in the middle. That was until Barr came in and until Lynch's injury, the regular midfield duo. So they are the 3 changes to the starting 11. The rest of it stays exactly the same. On the bench, you do see the likes of McNichol still and the other 4 you would expect. Jordan Shearer's goal drought now stretches to 13 games since he last got a goal. That was back in January for him. So let's go and get into it. The Intermediate Cup final. Linfield's reserves v Distillery. Can we win this for the first time in the club's history? And here are the teams. Linfield, Karai Quinn starts after being recalled from us. He could have been in our team tonight. Andrew Clark is a good player. He's out of contract the end of the year. And Noah Stewart on the bench we almost signed in January. But that is frustrating. I hope he doesn't have an influential performance. Let's get through the dressing room, ask for more from the fans. Matthew Lynch, you can see him there a bit unsure. He threw his toys out the pram because we haven't improved the training facilities at this level. It was a non-negotiable objective when we went to sign him, so I'm going to try and cheer him up for this game. He's another one that could be off in the summer. Through to the first half we go. We've been great in the Cups this year. One more and we could have 2 trophies to our name. We're nearly 10 minutes on the clock. It's a Linfield free kick to start with. I should call them Swifts really because people will think we're playing the first team here. As Watson gets the ball wide to Burns again, the taker. Into the box, it's the familiar route for us. Big ball to the back post to McCarthy. Back into the back post. And Josh Lynch loses out in the air. Thankfully the header goes wide. We get away with it. 15 gone. And Linfield, first big highlight of the match. Since then, though, I'm starting to see a trend. We were famed for very poor cup finals in FM22. Always games like this with not many chances. According to the stats, we've just had the better of this, but nothing to show for it. It's 0-0 at the break. It's a nothing game. Let's just hope we can nick it. At the moment, the 2 formations cancelling each other out. Well, half an hour to go, and again, despite the dominance on the stats, we're back with Linfield, crossing the ball in. Grimley deals with it to Karai Quinn, who's now on the left for some reason. Back inside to Burns. They've got a lot of men forward here as it's chipped up to the box. Good goalkeeping from Graham. Really assured, came off his line and dealt with it well. Let's encourage the lads as he goes long downfield. Brought down, hoofed away from Cooney. And it finds Smith at right back to Grimley. Into Lynch. Over to Smith again. Long ball forward. Boyd gets on the end of it. Against his parent club. Just over the bar. It was almost a moment for him. Didn't have the confidence to carry it. But I'm going to have to look at subs in a minute. And I don't know who to take off. Because the normal candidates, the likes of Brown, are having good games. And some of the poorer ones are actually the ones that I'd consider the match winners. So I'm going to be cautious for now. Josh Lynch will come off for Ballantyne. Lynch will switch roles. Ballantyne will go into the one that's most suitable for set pieces. I'm going to leave it at 1. We'll get back into it. The bench doesn't make us stronger here. Well, we're into the 90th minute. And again, it's been a terrible cup final. We're going to extra time, and now I will have to make choices because fitness is going to be the problem. McKee is struggling. Withers has had a poor game. But we haven't really got a left winger on the bench either. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring Josh Boyd on for Aaron Brown because that's a safe sub. I'm going to take McKee off on his yellow card for McVarnock, who has proven himself to be a goal scorer off the bench. And I'll leave the last 10 more minutes, just in case someone has cramp, someone picks up a knock. We want to be cautious in this final. We could bring on McNichol left back. We could bring on Shearer. What a time it would be to end the goal drought. But is it worth taking off a ruthless goal scorer for him? I'm not sure. For now, though, Linfield are the side on the front foot. Into the box they go. Got to be offside. Clark wasn't. Stewart was. But we get away with it. Stewart must have been interfering. It's 0-0, but we're clinging on by a thread. And all of the best chances are still coming to Linfield. Something we've got to be concerned about. It's almost half time in extra time, but we've got the ball at the back with Smith, who just hoofs downfield. Let me remind you again, shorter passing. Going to keep reminding you of it. An absolutely aimless hoof downfield. He's one of the more experienced ones and not even that tired. as Farquhar clears the ball again up more than away. Said that a lot this episode as Josh Boyd loses it. Gives it to Noah Stewart. Clark plays a 1-2 with him. Burns in the centre circle. Goes wide. Warnock loses out in the air. It falls for Burns again. I'm almost looking at penalty takers for the next sub now. Might not be necessary though, because Andrew Clark has just given Linfield the lead. So let's get on fresh legs at left back. McNichol, he can replace Warnock. And we've just got to try and chase the game. We're going to go attacking into the second half of extra time. We're going to ask for a bit more. We're going to encourage the boys. We'll try and push them forward. But I think we're going to end with disappointment. 2 1-0 defeats as well would be crap. Let's see the throw-in on the left. McNichol booked already. Plays a 1-2 with Lynch into Leon Boyd. Hits the outside of the post. Or was it Josh Boyd who got the shot? I think it was Josh Boyd who hit it. Hits the post and goes wide. It stays 1-0. And we're in the final minute of extra time as Grimley heads just wide. That was the chance. It's game over. We've given it a fight. We've been the better team. But again, we just have these games we don't take chances. Withers has suddenly dropped off form completely. Boyd hasn't really had a sniff. There's definitely improvements to be made here. Farquhar heads away to McVarnock. Can we create one more chance in the last 20 seconds? Doesn't look like it. Linfield got it where they want it. Stewart runs in one-on-one. Hits the post. And that will surely be game over. It's going to remain one trophy this year. It's a top half finish. It's a trophy. And disappointment in the Intermediate Cup final. Linfield Swifts, I'm not going to watch it. They didn't deserve to win it. But we lose. Unfortunately, we couldn't win the trophy today. But now, the big summer work starts. Despite being the better side and losing the game, there are some positives to take. 5,000 for playing in the final, 6,000 for losing in the final, a little bit of money coming in with only £100 being paid out. We're edging closer to a decent financial position again. What we've got to do though is try and dissect this incredibly inconsistent squad, find a winning formula for next year, try and improve the team in a number of positions and maybe promote some of those youth players. But who are we going to lose? That's the big question. Loads of players wanted, we can do nothing to keep them. It could yet be a tricky summer. But tomorrow we're going to delve into data, we're going to delve into this squad and see who we want to keep, who we want to promote from the younger teams and who we want to bring in. If you're looking forward to all of that, we'll give a debut to the squad planner and the data hub for this year as well. And please do put a thumbs up on it, subscribe for daily FM23 content. Plenty to build on at this club and still we met our objectives and nicked a trophy. But it could have been so much more, and that's the frustrating thing. Before we're back with this one at 11:30 tomorrow though, we will have the head coach later today. If you're not up to date, that playlist is above my head now. And I'll see you again tomorrow for a season review and a big summer plan with Lisburn Distillery.